Afternoon, everyone. Since yesterday we have taken the class of commercial law, today we take the class of corporate law, that is Companies Act 2013. Any doubts from the previous class we will take whenever we will start commercial law again. But today we start from Companies Act 2013. As I already told you, we will simultaneously start both commercial law and corporate law. So any doubt from previous class will take on whenever we take commercial law. Today, just go to your Companies Act chapter. That is part C of your syllabus, Companies Act. Corporate law, Companies Act 2013. Page number in your study material is 287. Companies Act 2013. Before that, Companies Act 1956 was there, and before that also Companies Act 1930, Companies Act 1939 was there in India. But in the year 2013, the whole of the Companies Act 1956 was replaced with Companies Act 2013, and the golden rules are always same. Section 1 defines the Companies Act as that this act may be called as the Indian Companies Act or simply Companies Act 2013. And Section 2 always contains the definitions of the terms that have been used in the Companies Act 2013. And Section 2, we have only clause, Section 2 clause A, Section 2 clause B. But apart from Section 2, all sections except Section 2 can have subsection, clause as well as subclause. As I have already told you, this golden thumb rule is applicable to each and every act prevailing in India. Now, why the Companies Act? As we know, the business in India can be run through different modes of entity. It may be single ownership, that is proprietorship, or it may be of multiple ownership. When we have to go to a higher or larger scale of business, we have to do our business through some organized way or organized manner. And for that, we have to form some company. And we as a natural person have many laws. Sir, this clear problem. We in India have many ways to do business, and whenever we go to a higher scale of business, we have to open a company. But company and natural person, that is citizens of India, are separate from each other. We as a natural person are run and governed by many acts, starting from Constitution of India, Civil Procedure Code, Criminal Procedure Code. There are large number of acts which govern the natural citizen of India. But to govern and to run effectively, there is one of the act prevailing as of now is Companies Act. This Companies Act governs the companies incorporated, remember the word incorporated, and registered in India. For us as a natural person, there are many acts, but for company, the prime act is, or the most important act is Companies Act 2013. Of course, there are many other laws to govern companies, but the prime act is Companies Act 2013. The first page in your syllabus, page number 287 in my study material, maybe also in your study material, there you will find that Companies Act 2013 was enacted in India, which forms the primary source of Indian company law. This Companies Act is the primary source to govern and run the companies in India. And this Companies Act 2013 replaces the Companies Act that was earlier prevailing 1956. Now, meaning and definition of a company. What is actually a company? The word company is derived from the Latin word con, come, with or together, to earn some bread, and originally referred to an association of persons who took their meals together. In popular parlance, a company denotes an association of like-minded persons formed for the purpose of carrying on some business or undertaking. A company is a corporate body and a legal person having status and personality distinct and separate from the members constituting it. This is one of the most important theory with respect to company. We as a natural person together can form company, but the company that we are forming is a separate legal entity from the members who have formed that company. If I and few of my friends forms a company, let's say company ABC Limited, that ABC Limited is a separate legal entity from the members who have formed the company. So, in the next few paragraphs, we will find salient features of company. You might have come across that ABC Private Limited or ABC Limited. These are two different ways to categorize companies. ABC Private Limited means it's a private company. ABC Limited means it's a public company. You can write down these things also, that ABC Private, it may be PRIVAT Private Limited or simply PVT Private Limited. It will be called as private company, and ABC Limited is public company. Now the biggest confusion amongst the commerce fraternity is that between the private company concept and public company concept. Few of us thinks that company where the money has been invested by Government of India or government, any state government is called as public company. Or apart from that public company, money invested by private parties are known as private company. That concept is totally wrong. Any one of you having that concept of public company as well as private company can go anywhere in the world and can remove their confusion. But the thing is that there is always confusion between private company and public company. Public means as defined in section in the company side, and private company means as defined in the sections of company side. There are few basic differences between private company and public company, but don't get confused with that. If central government or some state government invest their money, it's a public company, or if some private party invest their money, it's a private company. No, the answer is wrong. If we can go further, that a government, maybe central government or state government, can form either private company or public company. The private parties can also form either private company or public company. The main differentiation is between the number of persons that will be there in a private company or public company. The number of directors they will present in private company or public company. The number of members that will be there in private company or public company. Okay, I can give you a host of examples to categorize public as well as private company, but my sincere request to all of you that don't confuse whenever a government invests money, it's a public company. It can be public as well as it can be private company. But the thing is that whenever governments, central government or state government invest their money, it will be called as government company, not simply public company or private company. There are two broader headings, that is private company and public company. And in between that private and public, there are other further categories of companies. It may be government company, non-government company, so on so forth. But the concept of public and private are completely different from what normally in normal parlance people think. Okay. Any confusion about public company, private company we'll discuss later on. But the main basic is that whenever we read or understand the company side, that means we are dealing with the companies that are prevailing in India or that are being run in India. And company means association of like-minded people to earn bread and butter or simply to earn profit or to bear the loss. That is the main fundamental of company. And to extend the businesses, we have to form companies. And to run and govern those companies, Government of India have came up with Companies Act 2013. Earlier, Companies Act 1956 was there, but in 2013, the whole act was replaced by Companies Act 2013. Again, the way to write the name of the Companies Act is C capital, A capital, comma 2013. There is no other way to write the name of any act, which we have discussed yesterday. Coming back to page number 287. Salient features of company. Company is are association formed by the natural citizens of India. For your basic understanding, company is an association or group of persons run and managed by the natural citizens of India. Therefore, I, or let's say we, are forming a company. That company will be called as an artificial person, separate from the natural person who have created that company. So in exam, direct question may come, what are the salient features of company, or what are the basic features of company? First, separate legal entity. Why legal? Because we have to form company under the rules and regulations of Companies Act. That's why the term legal has been used. Separate legal entity means company is a separate legal person and also an artificial person. It is distinguished from the shareholders of the company. It has its own independent corporate existence. Company or corporate, sometimes simultaneously we can use both the terms to define the same thing. Company or corporate. We can use both the terms simultaneously to define. And company, since it has been formed as per the rules and regulations given in Companies Act 2013, is a legal person, unlike us. Okay, we are natural person. And company also is an artificial person. We can feel the company, we can see the name of the company, but we cannot touch or we cannot see the physical presence of company. We can see the physical offices, manufacturing plants of company, but as we can see ourselves, we can see others, we cannot see company. Company always exists in pen and papers. That's why company is a legal person, also company is an artificial person. If person A, B, C, D forms a company, then person A, B, C, D will be called as shareholders of the company. And the company is distinguished or separate from the shareholders of the company. That means the person who have formed the company can be distinguished from the company. Also, it means the company has its own independent corporate existence. That is the main feature of company, that is separate legal entity. Separate from the person who have formed the company, and legal why? Because it has been formed under the Companies Act 2013. Any confusion till this? Just on your mic and ask any confusion about the separate legal entity concept of company, because today's class is very basic class, and we'll go slowly so that the basic features of the company gets into your mind clearly. Any doubt? Yes?
No doubt.
Anyone else having any doubt on the concept of company?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's go. In the final accounts of your class 12 syllabus, we have prepared the profit and loss, also the balance sheets, cash flow statements of company. And I am very sure that in your class 12 online classes, to be very precise, you didn't ask about the concept of company, and your teacher also did not tell you about the concept of company. That is, I am very sure. There also you have read share application money, share allotment money, first call, final call. All those things are related to company. You may have solved all those practical questions of your accountancy paper, but that time also we didn't ask about the concept of company, and it is the mistake of your teachers also. Now, same thing you have learned about securities premium, about general reserve, capital reserve, everything. In that line, the next feature is limited liability. We as a natural person can do anything. We are prepared to pay the fines and penalty. We don't know what act we are violating and under which act will be penalized or will be fined. But that is not the case with company. Since company is being formed by the natural person, we can see the holdings or we can see the factories of company, we can see the office premises, office buildings of company, but physically we cannot see the company. So whatever company does, there have to some limitation, and that limitation is with respect to liability. Asset means whatever we own. Liability means whatever we have to repay. So, if company is being formed by association of natural person, one cannot impose unlimited fine, penalty, or liability upon a company. The liability of company will always be limited in 95% of cases. 5% of cases there are different concept. Okay, what is limited liability? The liability of the members of a limited company having share capital is limited to the extent of the nominal value of the shares held by them. The shareholders cannot be called upon to pay more than the unpaid value of shares, whatever may be the indebtedness of the company. It means the person who has formed the company will have only limited liability. Company said cannot impose unlimited liability on the persons who have formed the company. Now the point is that as we have all done our class 12 or we have done our graduation, what is share capital in case of company? Or simply what is share capital? We have prepared the balance sheets, we have prepared the liability side, equity share capital, we have prepared the asset side, we have prepared the profit and loss. Now the point is what is share capital in case of company? If anyone can give me the answer, what is share capital?
It's the money that comes in via the issue of the shares.
It's a money
Capital.
that comes
The capital that comes in when the company issues the shares.
Okay. What is the need of issuing of those shares?
Sorry, what?
What is the need of issuing of those shares?
In order to get capital, like
See, we have came across the chapter of share capital in your maybe in your 11th or 12th exam, 12th syllabus. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't remember. But there we have find the share application, share allotment, first call, second call, final call. Am I right? Everyone have came across all these things, every topic that
yeah.
share capital has, na? Yes. So if a shareholder cannot pay his final call amount, let's say the face value of the share is 10, application money you have received rupees 2, allotment you have received 3, first call you have received 2, 2 plus 3 plus 2, 7, and if the shareholder is not paying rupees 3, that is the final call, or if the company is not asking for the final call amount, what will be the implications? First of all, here the main point is the liability of shareholder is up to rupees 10 only, not more than that. Second line, the shareholders cannot be called upon to pay more than the unpaid value of his shares. Shareholder have paid first application money, allotment money, first call. Final call of rupees 3, the shareholder either is not paying or the company is not asking from him. If tomorrow company comes to a position to ask money from the shareholders, the company can ask money only up to the final call remaining unpaid. That means rupees 3 only. The shareholders cannot be called upon to pay more than the unpaid value of shares. And the first line says the liability of the members of a limited company having share capital is limited to the extent of the nominal value of the shares held by them. You can use the word nominal or you can use the word face value. Nominal and face value both can be used simultaneously, or both meaning of both the term is same. The point is, what is share capital? Somebody have answered that the money that we raise, the money we get while issuing or raising share is share capital. But my simple answer in one simple sentence is that share, HSAR, share is a share in the share capital of the company. A share is a share in the share capital of the company. Okay, simple English, simple language. A share is a share in the share capital of the company. Without a capital, a company cannot run. And what is the meaning of capital? Meaning of capital is money. With capital money, the company has to run. And that capital money, the company will get from the shareholders of the company. The person who has share is known as shareholder. So a share is a share in the share capital of the company. A share is a share in the share capital of the company. Without share capital, the company cannot run. There are two ways to get the share capital with respect to company. From the initial days, one can invest their money in form of share capital in the company, or after some time, the company can raise their money through public offer. That what Priyas have given us the answer, that we can raise the money from the public, and all those public will be called as shareholders, and they will give us money, and for that we'll give them dividend. Why somebody will invest in my company, or why somebody will invest in our company? Somebody will invest in our company because after earning profit, we will give them dividend. Okay, like we get interest while depositing money in bank. In that way only people get dividend by investing money with the company. So coming back to the limited liability concept, the liability of members. Members here means nothing but the shareholders. There is a slight difference between members and shareholders, but for now, members and shareholders are same. For your immediate understanding, members and shareholders both are same. The members of a limited company having share capital is limited to the extent of nominal value of the shares held by them, that is ₹10. Application 2, allotment 3, first call 2, final call 3. Total is ₹10. The shareholders cannot be called upon to pay more than the unpaid value of shares. Let's say in our example, the last call of ₹3, whatever may be the indebtedness of the company. कंपनी चाहे जाए भार में, कंपनी का चाहे करोड़ का नुकसान हो, doesn't matter, go ahead, but we as a shareholder will pay up to the unpaid amount in the share capital money, or the unpaid amount that is lying in the final call. कंपनी का कुछ भी हो जाए, भार में जाए, okay. As a shareholder's point of view, we have limited liability. Why I'm telling that? Because shareholders and the company are separate from each other. shareholders can be natural person, but company is always an artificial person. That is point number 2, limited liability. Any doubt on limited liability concept to anyone? Anyone from other sphere, other areas? See, you have to ask the questions. Don't think that after the class is over, we'll go to YouTube, we'll watch the uploaded videos of no use. एक घंटे का अपलोड वीडियोस ये सब देखना नहीं होता है. Instagram रील, Facebook रील देखा, you see, but it's not. Yeah, I can start.
Okay.
एक घंटे का ये YouTube वीडियो होता नहीं किसी से. You can watch web series, you can watch Netflix, you can watch Amazon Prime, Facebook reel, Instagram reel, you can watch, but you cannot watch एक घंटे का this classroom videos. So don't think that after the class is over we'll watch the YouTube. That is one of the biggest misconception of everyone. And if you are not doing your class 12 exam, you are not doing your graduation. Be professional. Try to be professional. At least in my class. And I have already told you, company sec is new to each and everyone. Whatever doubt you have, ask me in the class. Next is perpetual succession. Next selling feature. The company has its existence from the time of incorporation to winding up. Members may come and members may go, but the company survives up to the winding up. What is the meaning of word incorporation and what is the meaning of word winding up? Tell me. Simple English meaning of incorporation and winding up.
Sir, incorporation of the company is when the company is formed, and winding up is when the company, the board of directors have decided to close the company.
You are not audible.
Hello?
Yes, now please come again.
Yeah, incorporation of the company is, I guess, when the company is formed,
Yeah.
and the winding up of the company is basically when the board of directors have decided to, close the company.
Incorporation, as I have already said, is the formation or birth of the company. And winding up is that when the members or the shareholders, not directors only, there will be a constructive decisions of shareholders, members and directors to close the company is called winding up. The meaning hereby is that of perpetual succession, natural person will come, natural person will go or will die, but the company will go on. Since company is an artificial person formed under the Companies Act 2013, it can be stopped or it can die only through legal process. That process is also given in our Companies Act 2013. There is no other way to close the company. Natural person will take birth, natural person will die, but the company will go on. Tata India companies, the first person who have formed the company is no more in this earth, but the companies are still running and managed by the present members or the present shareholders. And I have already told members, the word members and shareholders we can use interchangeably. So Members may come, members may go. Shareholders may come, shareholders may go. Shareholders can take the share in the company, or shareholders can simply sell off their shares. But the show must go on. That means the company shall run, the company will move ahead, no matter who is the shareholder. That is the meaning of perpetual succession. Perpetual means this year, next coming year, and coming many years, and so on and so forth. So members will come, members will go, but the company will always go on. Company will survive, company have to survive, company will be managed, and company run by the new members coming to the company. Next again, separate property. The company is having right to acquire and transfer properties in its own name. If ABC Limited is a separate company, and in ABC Limited, let's say there are 10 members or 10 shareholders. Since the company is separate from those persons who have formed the company, that means those 10 persons collectively are separate from the company. Now, from the money of the company, company can acquire or transfer properties in its own name. It's not necessary that company will acquire the properties in the name of shareholders or members. Company can acquire its properties in its own name, as it's a legal entity and it's an artificial person. And company is separate from the person who have formed the company. Point number 5, common seal. We'll take this thing in the few classes. Common seal is nothing but one stamp, one common stamp of the company. There are few occasions where the company have to use the common seal, and having the common seal is earlier was compulsory, but as per Companies Act 2013, common seal is optional. Earlier, whenever a company issues share certificates, issue any agreement or contract, there they have to paste their common seal. That was there in 1956, Companies Act 1956. This was compulsory. But since 2013, this digital certificates, digital papers, all because of this digitalization of papers and schemes and contracts, the concept of common seal is now optional. One simple question that may come in your exam for 1 mark is that whether common seal under Companies Act is compulsory or optional. Your answer will be common seal with respect to Companies Act 2013 is optional. Earlier it was compulsory with respect to Companies Act 1956. Next, transferability of shares. As I've already told that what is share? Share is a share in the share capital of the company. Liability side, Schedule 3, Companies Act, equity share capital, preference share capital, So share is a share in the share capital of the company. Now one can transfer his shares to anyone. I can transfer my shares of a company to you. The shares of members, except in private company, may be freely transferable. There are a few differences between public company and private company. Private company is confined to few people only. That's why the transfer of shares is confined to those people. But in case of public company, it is not confined to only few group of people. It is for all the people, all the public residing in India. So the transfer of shares in case of public company shall be free. One can transfer his shares to anyone else. Now the point is how these days we transfer our shares. You must have come across the word share trading, demat account. All these things are for transfer of shares. Here, transfer of share means transfer of ownership of shares. Simply we are not transferring the shares. We are transferring the ownership of shares from one person to another. So, second last feature of companies that transferability of shares. Except in case of private company, with respect to public company, shares shall be freely transferable. In the yesterday class, I was discussing about the essential elements of an agreement so that that agreement becomes a contract. There we have discussed free consent. Point number 5, free consent. Same in case of share transfer. Share transfer is also an agreement, but the transfer of shares shall be free, or it is shall be free of mind. There shall not be any imposition of force or fraud or misrepresentation. Okay, so you can see the interlink of Indian Contract Act with other applicable acts in your syllabus. So Indian Contract Act जिसको समझ में आ गया, he can apply that understanding in any other acts also. The last feature is capacity to sue and can be sued. SUE. It means to file a legal case. Company can file legal case by itself or on its own name, or anyone can file complaints or legal action, legal case directly to the name of the company. ABC Limited can file case against Mr. X, or Mr. X can file case against ABC Limited. That is the meaning of capacity to sue or and be sued. Company file कर सकती है case, और company के against भी anyone can file the case. Why so? Because company is a separate legal entity and also an artificial person. So these are the basic features of company. Simple direct question that may come. Write down the basic features of company. What is a company? Why Companies Act 2013? Write down the basic features of Companies Act 2013. Separate legal entity, limited liability, purpose succession, ownership of property or separate property, common sale, transfer of shares, and capacity to sue and be sued. These are 7 or 8 special features of company. Okay. Any doubt on the special features or salient features of company?
Sir, again, can you please repeat capacity to sue and to be sued?
The company itself can file case against anyone. Let's say company ABC Limited can file if somebody has done wrong with the company. Let's say I have done some wrong with the company can file case against me. Or company PQR Limited have done something wrong with the company ABC Limited. Now ABC Limited can file case against PQR Limited on its own name. The shareholders or the members are not necessary to file a case against the person who have done wrong with the company. Okay, because shareholders and the company are separate from each other. Likewise, if the company is doing something wrong with anyone in the whole world, that person can also file case against that very company, that particular company. कंपनी खुद से भी फाइल कर सकती है केस अगर किसी ने कुछ गलत किया है, और अगर कंपनी कुछ गलत कर रही है तो somebody can file case against that company also. That is the meaning of capacity to sue and be sued. Being a separate legal entity, the company is having the capacity to sue others and can be sued by others. Why so? Because company is a separate legal entity. Is it all now? Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now go to the page number 289. 289, one of the most important concept of company. Yesterday I have told you section 2 and its clauses. Okay, clauses can be A, B, C, D, or it can be 1, 2, 3. That is applicable for any acts prevailing in India. In Companies Act 2013, section 2 defines the term that have been used in the Companies Act, and I have already told that the most confusing term is that the definition of public company and private company. Section 2 clause 71 and section 2 clause 68 defines the term public company and private company. This is for public company and this is for private company. So we'll take the simple topic first. Section 271 defines public company as a company which not a private company. Simple. What is public company? Public company is a company which is not private company. So to understand the term public company, we have to first understand the term private company, because public company is a company which is not a private company. Also, in section 2 clause 71, it is defined as a company which is a subsidiary of a company not being a private company shall be deemed to be public company for the purpose of this act, even where such subsidiary company continues to be a private company in its articles. So this second part is a bit confusing for you, so we'll take later on in the second part. First, now we'll stick up to the first part, that is public company as a company which is not a private company. Now, what is private company? Section 268. It means what is a private company. Section 2 clause 68 defines private company as a company having a minimum paid up share capital as may be prescribed and company which is by its articles. Articles are golden books or Bible of company. We may have come across a word article of association or memorandum of association in your 12th accountancy paper or in your 12 business studies paper. Okay, so in simple terms, we have to understand that a private company will have a minimum paid up share capital as prescribed by the article of association of the company. What are article of association, what are memorandum of association, I'll tell you later on. But simply private company shall have a minimum paid up share capital. Next, point number 1. Restrict the right to transfer its shares. That means in the salient features we have discussed transferability of shares, that except private company, in case of public company, shares are freely transferable. Private company, it means we cannot freely transfer the shares in case of private company. Okay. Point number 2. Except in case of one-person company, there is a whole together different concept, that is one-person company, where there is only one person to look after the affairs of the company, and that company is known as one-person company. The name itself suggests that there is only one person in that company. Okay, except when one-person company is also a private company. Statement true or false? Answer is true. One-person company is also a private company. Except in case of one-person company, limit the number of its members to 200. That means the members or the shareholders in case of private company can be up to only 200. And for public company, there is no limit as such. There is no limit for public company, but there is limit of up to 200 for private company. Okay. So first point, restriction in the transfer of shares. Second point, number of members or shareholders is up to 200. Thereby we get the third point. Prohibits means मना कर रही है. Prohibit करना मतलब मना करना. Okay. Prohibits any invitation to the public to subscribe for any securities of company. Since you are a private company, your number of members is limited to 200. Now you cannot go to public to subscribe your shares. It means you cannot go to public and say, hey public, take my shares, because you are a private company. You can go up to the only 200 members that you can have. If tomorrow you want to raise more money, private company cannot go to the public at large. Private company can go only up to those 200 members that it can have. That means as per Companies Act 2013, 200 members or 200 number of natural person is private, more than 200 number of natural person or member is public. That is the difference between public company and private company. Simply government is investing money doesn't make it a public company or private company. The main difference is number of members. Up to 200 private, more than 200 public. Get that thing very clear. I'll ask this question not today, after 10 classes. And I know 50% of your student will give wrong answer. Okay. Prohibits any invitation to the public to subscribe for any securities of the company. They have used the term securities, not shares. Securities means equity shares, preference shares, or debentures. Okay, if the private company wants to raise money through equity shares or preference shares or through debenture, they can raise the money up to the 200 members that have been permitted in case of Section 2, Clause 68, private company. Next, where two or more persons hold one or more shares in a company jointly, they shall, for the purpose of this clause, that is 2 Clause 68, treated as single member. Two persons jointly holding one share or more than one share will be counted as only one person, not as two persons. If I or along with one of my friends, we both holding one share in the company, will be counted as one single member or one single shareholder, not two different shareholders, because we are holding shares jointly. The following shall not be included in the number of members in case of private company 2 Clause 68. Person who are in the employment of the company. Employees are not necessarily are members. Employees are simply employees. They are not our shareholders, they are not members. But if one employee holds shares, he will be treated as employees as well as shareholders. But in normal course, employees are not shareholders who are working or who are in employment with the company. Person who having been formerly in the employment of the company, where members of the company while in that employment have continued to be members after the employment ceased. It means during the tenure as employee, one person may be called as members or one person may be called as member of the company. But after the close of his employment or after his retirement, even though his name will be in the list of members, but he will not be counted as member because his membership was linked with the employment in the company. Since there is no employment currently with the company, he will not be treated as members. So now, as per section 2 clause 68, there are three basic features of private company: restrict the right of transfer of shares. In case of private company restricts its transfer of shares, and except in one-person company, the maximum number of person or the maximum number of members in private company is 200. Also, private company cannot go to the public at large for raising money through subscription of its shares. If these 3 points are violating, then that company will not be called as private company, that company will be called as public company. Section 2 clause 71 defines a company is a public company which is not a private company. Any confusion regarding the definition of private company and public company? Stop sharing. Stop sharing. And then the code share. Any confusion with regards to private company and public company?
No.
Sir.
Anyone else?
No, sir.
So today onwards, if somebody asks that Government of India is investing 50 crore rupees in ABC company, whether that ABC company will be called as public company, answer is always no. We have to check the restriction on transfer of shares. We have to check the numbers of members. We have to check whether that company can raise money through subscription of shares. Okay, then only we can decide whether that company is a private company or public company. If, which means there are 500 number of members who are willing to invest money, we can form public company. If only Government of Assam wants to form a company, but Government of Assam is having 1,000 crore rupees, the Government of Assam can form one private company also. Government is involved, that doesn't mean it is a public company. We will check the features of that company, and after checking only we can decide that whether the company is a public company or private company in 2 clause 68, 2 clause 71. Also, in case of public company, there are other requirements. Public company shall have 3 numbers of directors. Private company shall have 2 number of directors. But these are not given in your simple definition of private company and public company. Private and public company can have directors. Private company minimum 2 number of directors. Public company minimum 3 numbers of directors. Okay. Next, page 290, page number 290, section 2 clause 45, government company. Government can also form company. Government can also invest money in the companies, and we can decide whether that company is a government company or not. Government simply investing money, we cannot decide that company is a government company. We cannot say that company is a government company. We have to look into the nature of holding, the percentage of holding of that particular government. Section 2 clause 45 defines government company as any company in which, any company means private as well as public company, in which not less than 51% of the paid up share capital, that means minimum 51% of the paid up share capital is held by the central government or by any state government or state governments jointly, or partly by central government and partly by one or more state governments, and includes a company which is a subsidiary company of such a government company. So as per 2 clause 45, when in a company central government is holding at least 51%, or state government is holding at least 51%, or two or more state governments jointly holding more than 51%, or central government or one or more state governments having joint holding of more than 51%, then it will be called as government company. For government company, the percentage is 51%. Also, subsidiary company of a government company is also known as government company. Now, what is subsidiary company? What is holding company? We learn in the few classes, but as far as government company is concerned, the percentage requirement is 51%. If government of central government or state government is holding more than 51% in a company, that is a government company. And the last topic for today, just I am telling you the difference between government company, public company, private company. We have already discussed that government company can be either private company or public company. Let's say government of West Bengal, government of Odisha, government of Assam, together they are holding 51% in a company, and with them there are 10 more members. So total 13 members. That is a private company. Again, government of Assam, Bengal, Odisha, along with 5,000 members of other company is holding more than 51%. Then it's a public company. Why public company? Because number of members is more than 200. Government of Assam, West Bengal, Odisha plus another 5,000 number of members. Together they are holding shares in the company. That company will be public company. Up to 200 private company, more than 200 public company. That is called government company. Government company but public company. Government company but private company if the number of members is limited up to 200. Subsidiary company and holding company. If company A is holding more than 50% of shares in other company, let's say company B. Company A will be called as holding company. Company B will be called as subsidiary company. Company A is holding more than 50% in company B. That means shareholders or members can be either natural person or artificial person. One company can be shareholder in other company. Okay. A company can also be member, but it will be called as artificial member, or one company can be called as artificial shareholders. So if company A is holding more than 50% of numbers of shares, or its holding is more than 50% in company B, it will be called as company A will be called as holding company. Company B will be called as subsidiary company. Okay. For holding subsidiary, percentage is more than 50. For government company, percentage is more than 51. Don't get confused. To a company become a government company, the holding shall be more than 51% by any government, central or state. To become holding and subsidiary, the number of shareholding shall be more than simply 50% or majority of shares. 50.1 is also majority of shares out of 100. So if majority of shares are held by a company, that first company will be called as holding company, second company will be called as subsidiary company. And as per section 2 clause 45, subsidiary company of a government company is also treated as government company. Government company means more than 51% shares held by state central government, and if that government company is having some subsidiary company also, then those subsidiary companies, just because it's a holding, it's a subsidiary company or government company, they will be also treated as, or they will be also called as government company. Subsidiary company of a government company is a government company. Remember that more than 15% shares by central government, state government is government company. Subsidiary company of government company is also government company. But for relation of holding subsidiary, holding company shall have majority of shares in the subsidiary company. That means more than 50% or simple majority. Any confusion on section 2 clause 45, section 2 clause 68, section 2 clause 71, you can ask, and we'll end up the first class. Next class of with costing. Any confusion till section 2 clause 45?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you.